Stone Cold Stunner, one of the most over finishes, right up there with the Hogan leg drop. But I did take it just in a post-match type thing or a post segment type of brawl where Austin ran in the ring and gave everybody stunners. This was during the right to censor era. I did not take a great stunner. I even took a couple stunners actually on a house show with him and Jericho. They wanted me to drink the beer, kicked me in the stomach, gave me the stunner there. Um, the stunner I took on TV, I was trying to roll out. It was one of those things, like I said, during that time with the extra weight, the personal stuff, and whatever we're going to talk about during the Right to Censor 2-episode series that we have in the future, it was just like you ever get in a point where everything just goes wrong no matter what. You're just not in that rhythm. So I took the stunner fine and I was supposed to roll out. I rolled out and there's the ring post. So I couldn't get out of the ring. I thought I'd roll out and just kind of take the floor bump. No. And Austin's looking at me like, you dumb F, what are you doing? And I was just like, oh, it's just another week with a 262-pound botchaholic or botch expert. And then I just felt terrible. And that's one of those things when you go to the back, just like the Undertaker last ride, you go to the back and they're kind of quiet. They shake your hand, but there's no words exchanged. It's like, okay, all right, I got heat. I know it. And I deserve it right now.
Did I even explain in the intro we're doing it from most painful to least painful? I just said we were ranking them. Sorry, I meant so this is good.
It's right in front of me. You didn't say it, but I should have known. So as far as that's the least painful. That is not a painful move to take. It's a stunner. You can either just stand up, take the big Scott Hall bump, or you can drop to your knees. He's got you nice and tight as long as there's not space. And that's your thing. Steve's gripping it. Great. Steve's got you. You know what I mean? He's a strong dude. If there's space there, you're going to get jaw jacked, but it's still not going to be. You literally have to have your mouth open, space, and come down and bite your own tongue for it to hurt.
For a future thing, we need to have who took the Stone Cold Stunner the best. And if Sergeant Slaughter isn't number one, then you and I need to go into some deep discussion.
I think, you know what? I'll give you a little teaser right now that will get people talking. Rock took the worst one.
Awful. Hated it when he did that. And it was always for a joke.
Yeah.
It was a case of beer on it or something.
This, boom, Yeah. He took almost as bad as Sami Zayn took Sid's power bomb, where he got up and threw himself over the top rope.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. I was going to say, Kurt Angle took a good one. Scott Hall took a good one. Rhino, I think, took a good one that people don't remember very much.
What about
But he took a really good one. Okay, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
It's a stunner. You look stunned. Yeah, the Vince one was so bad it was good. How's that?
Well, he's just the most uncoordinated person. We need to have a top video of the worst. Linda has got to be the worst. Apart from The Rock. As far as people who knew what they were doing, The Rock's is the worst. Okay, but that's going to be for a future video. Next one on this list. So, am I assuming Stone Cold Stunner is a D? Not painful at all.
Not painful at all. Oh, we're doing D is the worst, or are you?
No. D doesn't hurt at all.
Okay, D.
Triple H's Pedigree.
I would call that a D. I'm not a fan of face bumps. I took it from Chyna, not Triple H. So I took it from
her. Oh, so you've never taken a Triple H one?
Never taken a Triple H one. But I will say this, Triple H's early pedigrees, man, they were rough. The one on Marty Champagne or whatever, Marty, first name Sham, last name Payne. He was friends with the Hardys. Marty, he's the one that took it like a pile driver straight down. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's him. I forget his last name now. But Hunter used to hold on and drop down. And that could be an issue for people with shoulder, neck issues, stuff like that. It's pretty easy because what you do is you pretty much reverse. You don't tuck your chin. You put the back of your head in his crotch area to create the space for the pedigree. I took it from Chyna. She let go, which was great. He started to let go in later years. And I think it looks better because you can jump, kind of go back on an angle, and you both come down at the same time. So as far as hurting, it doesn't hurt unless you take it wrong and you plant your own head.
So with Chyna, we're saying D again.
I'd say a D on both. China's wasn't China was very green. Some of her stuff was very weak looking. The pedigree, obviously, she had it because she was with Triple H at the time, but it didn't hurt, but it was a little rougher than I would assume Hunter's would be, because he would have you grip pretty good, jump up pretty high, and then he could let you go. China's was basically kind of like go down, don't leave your feet, and then she would just pancake you.
I've got a theory that the first person to, I might be wrong here, but the first person to sort of like do the newer version of the pedigree was Kane, because he would let his arms go, or Triple H would let Kane's arms go, but he would also land on one knee as well, so he'd never do a flat forward bump.
That was my DDT bump. I'd always throw my knee out because I take horrible face bumps. So I'd plant my head a little bit, but my knee would come into play because this part, the chest and the something about face and chest bumps I've never ever liked because I'm pretty skinny and Glenn's a big guy. So I don't know. But I think what you just said about doing it to people like Kane, Big Show, other bigger guys, Taker, letting go is better because they're so huge. I don't think he could really hold the grip for the entire time because they're so wide. That's probably what he had to do to make an adjustment.
So we're going to go on chokeslams now. Big Show's, Kane's, and Undertaker's. Who gave you their chokeslams and ranking from there?
Well, I got the choke slam from Big Show many times. I got the choke slam from Kane a few times. I've never gotten a choke slam from Taker. It's all essentially the same thing. The thing that makes people pop more than anything is that big slap on the chest when they grip and then slide it up and grip like that. Glenn's was really good because he had the glove. So when he did the thing, it would make that big slap sound like he he called goozle. He would goozle you like that. Um, the cadence of the move is always different and the way guys did it. Big Show, he could choke slam you like 911 for real if you wanted to. He would grab you, then put the hand on the butt or the back. And when he would lift up, he'd hold with that left hand. And then it would be like almost like a rock bottom bump where he would kind of turn you or bring you down. Um, Kane's choke slam developed from grabbing the tights and stuff after he goozled, pick up and kind of land you with the hand on the back or the butt. But then Glenn started doing that one-handed one on Christian, and then even guys like me, where he would come up and kind of slam dunk you, which didn't. I'd give Big Show's probably a C. I would give Glenn's, depending upon how hard he threw you, maybe a C plus or a B minus, somewhere between there if we're doing that.
We'll say a B. We need to get
Maybe
something.
it hurt a
there.
little bit more at times because he'd dunk you. And I was tight with Glenn, which means he would throw me even harder because that's how wrestling works. Friends try to hurt each other more than you would an enemy. It's just really weird. Taker, I would say probably a C. The choke slam bump in itself is a very, very like it knocks the wind out of you. It's about as real of a bump as you can take safely. That's going to knock the wind out of you. That's going to be very impactful. And obviously, when someone's 7 feet or more, you're coming from a almost the top of the cage kind of height with that.
Now, next one is going to be the last ride. Now, Stevie does go in depth about the last rides he took from The Undertaker in a future episode regarding right to censor. So we'll sort of save the story of that, but purely from just how much taking one hurts, where does it rank?
It doesn't hurt at all. I mean, The Undertaker in general, it takes pride. He said that about the Hogan segment with the Tombstone. He takes great pride in taking care of an opponent, of not hurting an opponent. Obviously, it's a scary bump to take because the first part is, and I didn't have enough core strength, you need to sit up as much as possible and almost overshoot Taker to the crowd, if you know what I mean. You have to get your head positioned where you're literally looking over him. And then when he grabs you and shoot, like his strength, he's overhead pressing you. You could try to push on top of his head, which most guys do, but he's still literally overhead pressing you. And when you're that high and you're looking at the skybox at the suites, and then you got to go backwards. It's terrifying if you're not used to it. But if there was a guy that could give it to you that you should trust, it would be Taker. So I would say probably right up there with the Chokeslam, a C. It hurts, but only because of the bump, not because of the person giving it to you.
Have you ever taken a Tombstone? Now, I know because this is going to be a multi-part thing. We're going to do ECW and then later WWE Ruthless Aggression era, etc. So we're not going to do That's Incredible, Just Incredible's version of the Tombstone. But from like Kane or Undertaker, I don't know if you ever took a Tombstone. Can you rank those?
Never took it. But I would say there would be a guy, Taker and Kane, that I would trust more than anything. Then you got the version of Owen Hart, which is not the version to do, which is to sit out one. But I would call that a D. Hogan would call it an S, but I would call it a D.
Call my family, brother.
It's gone. Call my wife and kid.
Next one, the 3D.
3D's a D. No pun intended. Doesn't hurt. Going through a table can scrape you up a little bit, but Devon's lifting you up and got your legs. Bubba is just giving you a diamond cutter. And actually, it's easier than taking an RKO or a diamond cutter because they have you. They're taking 95 to 99% of the bump. Think about it. Bubba's got you like this. Devon's got your legs. Essentially, your body never really hits the mat.
What about the other version of the 3D, where it's Jim Ross always called it a 3D when he called it, but it was, into the backdrop, into the sort of neck breaker
back
thing.
In the neck breaker? That's a D too. Easy. Think about
Next
it.
one.
They're both taking bumps and you're not even touching.
Next one. So I believe you took a few of these in your early career. This is sort of the jacked metal kind of era. Big Boss Man, the Boss Man Slam.
T. Easy.
Really?
Easy. The Abyss's Black Hole Slam is a C or a B at times, especially in a 6-sided ring if you don't land right in the middle. So that's a little bit rougher. No, but Boss Man's a D. He's laying you down. He's just picking you up and laying you down. That's all it is.
Gangrel's Impaler DDT. I know we're going to talk about DDTs in a future episode as well. It's one of my absolute favorites, but the Gangrel DDT.
His is right up there with the best. That day is a little spoiler. I call it a D. Because Dave just flowed. Dave, that's the real name. He grabs you, squats with you, and this is the same thing with Edges. Edge does it too. You're taking your own bump. You're just taking your own bump. Now, if I'm not a fan of face bumps and I put my knee out and stuff like that, that's on me. But it will not hurt you. And you get some height. Like Gangrel still looks the same, still works the same. That dude should be on TV now. Why he's not a regular on AEW besides Edge getting hurt? That's always seeming to happen to him, isn't it? We talked about that. But super easy. I would have called it a D.
Now, this one I put in the wrong list, so I've moved it back up. And I think you've talked about this in a future episode. Farouk's Dominator.
It depends on the person. Depends on the person. Like I do not take great face bumps and I cannot backflip. That's a deadly combination for the Dominator. I think they called it. Well, that's what Lashley used to use too. I like Lashley's because Lashley grabs you and kind of does that. Ron is so strong. It's just like boom, boom, like the spine buster he does. I call it probably a C that it knocks the wind out of you, but doesn't hurt you. It's not like you're landed on your head or you're just basically coming down chest, maybe side of your face, mostly chest, stomach, and knees. But I would call it a C.
We need to get some B's, A's, and S's in this thing at some point. I hope there's a couple in here that, I mean, in a way, I hope there isn't, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Next one is Bradshaw's Powerbomb.
Never took it, but I would call it a B.
Just from everybody else's reaction.
Everybody else's reaction and just the torque of coming down. You sit up, and then it's the whiplash effect of coming straight down into the power bomb from there. By the way, I saw JBL's in TNA, JBL's at GCW, and what's going on there? We might have to do an episode on is WWE buying everybody? Like, it's kind of like They're out. They're doing Forbidden Door better than AEW's doing it. It's crazy.
Well, he's not a full-time, I'm sure he's got a Legends contract or a Nostalgic contract, as apparently they're called now. I figure
Yeah,
he's
but
figured in like that.
One of the Creed brothers did the Bloodsport stuff too, right?
Yeah, they're letting people do that. I think Shayna Baszler did one of the Bloodsports as well recently.
Man, I don't know. We might have to debate that because JBL is one thing, being just a commentator, not an active wrestler, but you have your active wrestlers being put in a kind of a half shoot situation. And this is a company that's paying out pretty good on their talent. It's very strange.
The next one is Hardcore Holly's Alabama Slam.
A B. A B, but I have no problem ever taking it from Bob. You just got to tuck your chin. That's the whiplash. That right up there was with the Bradshaw powerbomb type thing. It's going to knock the wind out of you. You tuck your chin, you're going to be fine. But if you're coming back, say I get in the ring tomorrow and I work Bob, one of my favorite opponents, one of my favorite people outside the ring as well, fellow animal lover, all that stuff. But if that's my first match back and I take that bump, I'm feeling it for a week because my body's not conditioned to take such a heavy bump.
Next one. So this is, I don't know if you took either of these or both of them, the Rikishi drop or the Rikishi driver.
I've taken a Samoan drop from a few guys, which they know how to do it really well. Like I took it from Umaga before he was Umaga. I took it from Rosie, took it from a bunch of different people. The Rikishi driver, which is basically Bam Bam Bigelow's Greetings from Asbury Park. Those are the guys, because of how thick he is, I would call, well, first of all, the Samoan drop is a C because it does knock the wind out of you. Look at Jacob Fatu. He literally, I never liked to throw up in the air and then catch him because I'm so ass heavy. When you throw me up, I'm still on your shoulders. I'm not going anywhere. But the Rikishi driver, and then you throw in Bam Bam Bigelow with that. Guys that are that thick on their lower body will protect you with the sit out tombstone. That's why Owen and Austin, it happened because Owen's not a small guy, but you could literally have the head this far off the mat. And then you add in long hair. Dude, that the top of my head could be in Rikishi's thighs and you wouldn't know it. But I would call the Rikishi driver in Greetings from Asbury Park a D. Because
Did you? No, I'm sorry, Steve.
anything above a D where the head touches, the dude's getting stretchered out. So it has to be a D.
Did you ever take like his version of the Banzai drop?
No. I took the stink face when it break the sensor, yeah.
How was that?
It was fine. He's a pleasant smelling fellow from head to toe. The back, I don't know. But when you take that finish, that's not for anybody, by the way, that part. You do not want to. There are certain people that turn their head too much. Like you either go straight like that or you turn your head a little bit to the camera. I just opted to look straight ahead and just think about something else completely different.
Mm-mm. Yeah, Hulk Hogan's Stargate. I mean, your own Stargate, I guess, in a sense.
I wish I had a Stargate at that particular point. But look at it this way. Nobody ever touched me. That was one of the first times that someone got to me with Rikishi with that. It wasn't a finish. I wasn't knocked out, but it gave the fans something to cheer about at the same time.
Fame Asa.
Oh, that's a D. That's easy. And that's, like I say, I repeated it a few times. Somebody hates taking face bumps. But Billy would push down, put the leg there, make you kind of resist up. Because the more you resist up and stand up with him, the better bump you're going to take. You ever see guys where he does it and they're just there and then he go down? It's like a power bomb thing. He pushes down, you push up, and you both come down.
Road Dogs Pump Handle Slam.
Never took it, but a D, very easy. It's all basically smoke and mirrors. In other words, with a finish like that, it's literally the hook. It's Rhea Ripley's finish, just to come down flat. But he would do that and he would do his road dog dance. And then he would hook, look up, squat, come up, and both of you come down. And what road dog would do, if I can remember correctly, road dog would flatten out too and make it look even better. So he was taking a harder bump than I would.
Would Tess do something similar?
So
to
Tess
that?
did the pump handle slam.
Did he? I'm sure at one
He
point,
did
maybe he
I've
evolved it
taken it
then.
enough. He did because I remember
Yeah.
he did it to me, and one time Victoria pulled down on, my leg, and then Tess clotheslined both of us.
Where we go? So Jerry Lawler's pile driver. I suspect that's D. Same. It's either D or
And D, you're
stretcher.
still in the ring. You're not
Yeah.
leaving. Like, somebody's still in the ring now if it's an A or even a C.
Crash Holly. So I had to look up what his finishes were. So he did a version of the acid drop, which is a little Spike Dudley's bulldog, sort of like face front bulldog kind of thing off the ropes. He also did a version of the Styles Clash later on as well. And I think he did a DDT, or that's what his finisher was in SmackDown, one of the early SmackDown games.
Crash used to go on TNA, and if you watch Explosion or whatever it was, or the weekly, they had a weekly one outside the pay-per-view. He would do everything he could to rib me on there. He would scream Richards before he hit something, and he called it something besides Styles. He named it after me, but he named it after me as if he were burying me. I forget the name. The acid drop, I took that many a times in WWE. That's an easy move to take. Like I said, he's taking the brunt on his butt. All I got to do is take the face bump or the chest bump. But yeah, if you go back and watch Mad Mikey, even when he was talking on the phone, he was yelling at me on the phone. For real. He called me and said, "We're doing a pre-tape, you stupid son of a bitch." And he would start just cut a promo on me. Mad Mikey was over in TNA.
Yeah, preschool as well. I still love that name.
Preschool. Yep. Bottom rope.
So, we'll call that D then, I guess. Michinoku Driver.
Depending upon who it is and who you're doing it to.
Should we put that, because we haven't got an A yet, because it's obviously injured people, and it does seem that a lot of smaller people do have the Michinoku Driver as their finish as well. That could be potentially an A.
I would say an A with an asterisk.
An A with an asterisk. So did you never take it from Taka then? Because I know you wrestled Taka a good few times.
I don't think I ever took it from Taka. I've wrestled him a few times on Jack the Metal. If I took it once from him, it was probably, again, first of all, Taka never hurt anybody with it. So that there was precedent there. Second of all, with Taka, at that stage, I was literally in WWE for less than a year. So I was probably not in a position. That's if I had taken it, and I don't recall, but if I had taken it, you're at a point where you just want to impress everybody, and you don't want to be a problem.
Next one is the Albert Bomb, Prince Albert, or A Train for newer fans, I guess.
That's like the double-handed choke slam into the sit-out power.
Yeah, it used to be called the Baldo Bomb, I think, at one point. Yeah.
And then Pete Gas had the gas mask where he would kind of full Nelson you and end up in the same thing. It's a D, easy. These kinds of finishes, James and everybody out there, when the bigger guy is landing on his butt or taking the brunt, or the 3D, when two big guys are taking the brunt of the bump, they're super easy. Sometimes your body never even touches the mat in these kinds of situations.
Now, I put Randy Orton. We're not going to do the RKO because we'll save that for the Ruthless Aggression era, like we will for the F5 as well. But he had an original finisher, which was a German suplex into a uranagi. I don't remember if you took it or if you ever took it, or what finisher he even had when you were working with him in dark matches in 2001.
Well, we had the Raw match. We didn't have any dark matches or anything like that. Just the debut match, that was it. Randy's one of the guys that I didn't have the benefit of working a loop of house shows against. Like Batista and other people that were brand new, Boogeyman, other people, I worked a lot of house shows against them. Randy was literally, met him that day. He debuted that night. It was in the Meadowlands, I believe, and we had our match. So I'm not familiar with this. This is an OVW finish, I assume?
I'm figuring so, but I've got you wrestling Randy Orton, defeating you on a dark match, Sunday Night Heat, November 2001. And then you also teamed with Rico a couple of times to... Oh, I'm sorry, you teamed with Tommy Dreamer a couple of times to defeat Randy Orton and Rico Constantino. That's in 2001. Another one, dark match, Randy Orton and Ron Waterman versus Rico and Steven Richards as well.
I do remember the Ron Waterman match. Ron was somebody that they had a lot of high hopes for. He had like a Randy Couture type look to him with dyed blonde hair. Your memory's better than mine. I don't recall. I never took an RKO from. If I could remember, Rico probably took the finish. And if it was this, I do not remember it. But it sounds very convoluted. A German suplex into a uranagi.
Yeah, it was.
Going back to chest, then you got to go chest to chest.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder they nixed it because that's also one of the criteria for a good finish. This is way too complex to really even understand, much less the number one thing, which is a spoiler. He can't do that to everybody. That's number one thing.
Next one, Twist of Fate, depending on who's giving it. I don't know. Yeah, Jeff and Matt. I don't know if there's any difference between the two.
No difference. I will say this though, that Jeff can get, a little bit sloppier with certain moves than Matt. Matt had much cleaner, but Jeff was a lot more exciting because he was like that thing outside the car dealerships waving around. His body was like Gumby. Equally fine. And like I said, it's all in the presentation. And then the twist, the over. It's essentially like a shake, rattle, and roll into a diamond cutter. That's all it is. But extra presentation on it.
D or C?
What's that?
D or C?
Oh, I'm sorry. I would say a C. Just because it kind of knocks the wind out of you.
The perfect plex.
Dude, I got to find this match. If anybody out there, I had one match with Mr. Perfect on Sunday Night Heat. I've been looking for it everywhere. Dude, he was, man, for one match, that's like goosebumps, like the Slaughter match. Get in a ring with Mr. Perfect. And the best part was, this is my favorite part. We'll get to the perfect plex. He said to me, I go, hey man, I really want to be able to be a heel. I said something to him like, I don't want to disrespect you, but I kind of, in a heel way out there, I want to disrespect you. And then obviously you can take it right back and do whatever. Dude, he let me, I roughed him up in the corner. I chopped and did whatever. And I put my hand on his chin and I said, do you know who you're in the ring with? You're in the ring with Stevie Ray. I did the Mr. Perfect. Do you know who you're in the ring with? And I was like a little kid out there with him when I did that. And he did it to me. And my face, he had me scrunched. I was smiling. It's like Dean Ambrose with the snake on him. I couldn't help it, dude. I couldn't help it. It was like right here. And then I did the thing with him. And then the finish was literally off the ropes, backdrop. And I said to him, like, I'm going to try to take this a little differently than anybody else. Cause I was like, dude, I was like 195. So I was very, very light. He hooked me. When he hooked me and hooked me there, the way I posted off his knee, for some reason, he was like, dude, that was like the best perfect plex anyone's ever took, which I was like, I get to the point where when he said that, and it's such a Mark thing to be, but when you grow up watching somebody like Kurt Hennig and you get in the ring and he's every bit like this, light, easy, gets it. You can feel the poise and the presence in the ring, and you're sharing a ring with this dude and you're getting heat on him and he's letting you do all this stuff. And then he's given like a million perfect plexes, but then he tells you, and he might be BSing me, but I didn't care, dude. He didn't have to give me like, he found me and gave me the compliment. It was like, dude, that was such a great, that was one of the best ones, if not the best one anyone's ever took. And I was like, and he's a ribber. I knew he's a ribber, but the way he said it, I was like, man, that was like, just, that's a bucket list thing. I can't say enough about it. There's very few times Slaughter, him, Flair, when you're in the ring with a true professional that knows what they're doing and it's the way a match should work, and you come out of the ring, you're not even banged up. Like, I could do this 7 times a week. That's, man, thank you for bringing that up because that's a memory that, like, one of the I don't watch a whole lot of my matches, but if I could find that match, I would sit down and watch that and be like, that would induce memories that just have positive memories.
Well, that was the international version of
Yes.
Heat as well. So for anybody who's a tape trader in the UK or anywhere else, it is the 15th of April 2002 episode of Sunday Night Heat. So if you've got it, somehow get in touch with us via the show or Twitter. Just tweet me.
That would be,
I'll
an
try and see.
absolute one right video if you guys want to see it.
Well, do you know what I want us to do at some point as well? Wrestling different legends, how worthy, Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage, which he wrestled in WCW. I don't know how many people know as well, and there'll be some
watched on the night of upsets. So
I don't even know the story.
Salt Lake City, Utah, the infamous night of upsets. Every underneath guy was going over on stars, and I didn't. And I actually said I shouldn't because I wanted to stand out.
Right, you need to. We have to save that for a future episode.
Okay.
But Savage, Slaughter, Flair, Perfect, any more as well. We'll get to it. I take it. Perfect Plex was a D, because it's Mr. Perfect. We've got a few more. Then we go into the high flying moves. So we've done Twist of Fate, Bookend, Booker T's version of the uranagi.
So it's basically a rock bottom. But I remember I took this Insurrection 2002, the hardcore title match, over in England before the plane ride from hell. By the way, yes. So I would call this probably a C because he's there with everything. He came down and I made sure I folded on it, so it was on me. So it's going to knock the wind out of you. Rocky's too. He's coming down with you and it's like dropping a heavy elbow or splash type of feeling on your chest. Super easy though. Doesn't hurt you. I think C is basically knocking the wind out of you or taking the air out of your sails type of bump.
I think A should be potential injury or concussion or whatever. B should be very difficult or you really feel it. C should be that, and then D is nothing.
Definitely the original finisher is a definite B.
What was that? With the German suplex.
Just too complex.
We've got 3 more. So this is a bit more nebulous, really, because a lot of people had it, including The Godfather, Goodfather, Tommy Dreamer. Other people had this as well, the Death Valley Driver.
Depends. I've never taken it where someone's held on and dropped like a brainbuster. That could be a C. I would call it a D. It's literally attitude adjustment. Cena's move. It's essentially a body slam bump. That's all it really is.
Curtain call, Gold Dust.
A D, straight up. I call it an E because it's super easy. All you got to do is, some guys don't do this. When he hooks you like that on the jump, it's extremely hard. So what you need to do, well, it's what Hogan did on the Tombstone. He probably thought he was taking curtain call. You need to grab his shoulder because your body's coming up like this. This is the post, like on his shoulder, grabbing his neck. And then when you come up, you land and you flat bump. That's all it is. Very easy.
Jericho's Lionsault, a.k.a. the Asai Moonsault, a.k.a. the Quebrada.
I'd call it a D. He doesn't,
Really?
Well, because he doesn't even splash you. He just kind of like rolls over you like a senton. If you think about it, he doesn't do like, say, RVD splash. You're getting splashed. You're getting stuffed. It's not going to kill you, but it's there. With Jericho, when he does it, he's landing and his hands almost come down first, and then he just kind of rolls over you and then comes up on his knees. So it's very easy.
And I've just added one more here. Perry Saturn's moss-covered 3-handle family credenza.
I'd have to say a B. I have to say a lot of stuff Perry did was a B to an A. He's pretty rough.
Do you know, I think I said this on Shane Douglas' show. I know I told Perry this, but I was like, man, I find it might have been, it looked great, and apparently it felt the opposite of great, but man, that's some dude that just doesn't get enough love for just being all-rounder. He was really good at a lot of things, Perry.
Well, Perry was one of the most athletic big men or men just in general in the business. Perry could do moonsaults, flying elbows. He was incredible. He could do a lot of stuff, but also at the same time, Perry was pretty snug with a lot of things. And sometimes with Perry, like that was pretty much the rings of Saturn, right? That finish with
Yeah, the finish is the Rings of Saturn. In fact, someone
you're talking about that. You're talking about the turning suplex.
Yeah, the turning fisherman
Oh, no,
suplex buster kind of thing.
That's a C. That's a C.
Okay.
You meant the rings of Saturn.